Live from the KHOU11 studios, it's Great Day Houston. And now, here's your host, Deborah Duncan.
Extreme weight gain, depression, hair loss. Angela was at her breaking point. So how did she lose 90 pounds and get a thinner husband too? What? Details next. Welcome back to Great Day. Well, after having children, a lot of moms have trouble losing the so-called baby fat. Our next guest was asking a common question: how did she gain so much when her twins only weighed 9 pounds combined? Add to that hair loss, depression, and fatigue. Angela Little was at her wit's end. She finally got a groove back, though. To tell us how, please welcome Angela and Dr. Stephen Hotze with the Hotze Health Wellness Center. Hello. Story. We always expect to maybe gain a little weight after having a child, and you did after having your first one.
Yes.
And then after having the second one, how much weight did you gain after the first one?
After the first one, I was 190 pounds. I had gained about 45, almost 50 pounds.
Wow. Okay. And then you had your twins.
Yes. And then I got to 290.
All right. So, Dr. Hotze, we always ask, how's it that I had this little baby that only weighed this much, but yet I gained all this weight that won't go away after the baby's born?
Well, that's a very common problem that women have after delivery, first, second, or third delivery, is their metabolism changes. And how many women out there notice your metabolism changed after you had a baby? Anybody? Yeah. Well, this is very common, and it has to do with the imbalance in the female hormones and how they adversely affect the thyroid hormone, which comes from the thyroid gland in the neck. So this is what happened to Angela, and Angela had been to see her physicians, and they told you what?
They basically told me that lose weight, go eat healthier.
Yeah, and we all know that
exercise
works as long as your body's working.
Right.
Right.
But if your metabolism is slow, which Angela's was, she had the problem with the difficulty with weight. What other symptoms afflicted you?
I had migraines. I was depressed. I also, well, overweight. You can't exercise very well at all.
Well, the answer to that is for your migraines, take some pain medication. If you're depressed, take an antidepressant. If you're, you go on a diet, if you gained weight. And how did you feel?
I felt terrible. I was tired all the time. I would get up for a couple of hours, and then I would go take a nap for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. So basically, it's just like you shut down. And you've said this a million times on the show. I went through the same thing. I shut down because, and no one could answer my question. And finally, you get an answer, and you're like, really? Is that all it is? And I say, is that all it is, Dr. Hotze? Because it's as simple as hormones, but we don't understand hormones in our body.
Well, it's unfortunate that that is really not very well taught in medical school. So most physicians are unfamiliar with natural approaches to using biologically identical hormones and thyroid. They're just not. I wasn't trained that way. I had to learn it later in life. So Angela ended up coming in, and how did, what did your doctor told you before? He said your problem was where?
In my head.
All in the head. So this is the common approach that many physicians take with women when they can't figure out what's going on. They go like,
well, no one believes you when you come in and say, I am eating right. I am trying to exercise. Like, sure you are, right? And the other common approach that people take, Dr. Hotze, is that they'll medicate the symptoms as opposed to getting rid of the cause.
And so when Angela came in, and you came in August of 2011, right?
September.
September 2011. So it's been not quite.
I love how we remember the exact month.
I remember the exact day.
That was your delivery date.
September 1st, 2011.
Yeah. So that was not quite 2 years ago, and so when we evaluated you at that time, Dr. Sheridan saw you, and she had all the signs and symptoms of hypothyroidism. Duh, she'd been having that for 10 years, and they keep telling her she was depressed and giving her more antidepressants. And one of the other manifestations of your hypothyroidism, you said you had been sick. How often?
I was sick twice a month.
Yeah, so where you had never been sick before, and so
and taking antibiotics. This had been going on for 10 or 12 years, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Because thyroid can impact your immune system as well.
If your metabolism is down, then everything functions at a low level, including your immune system, so you get recurrent chronic infections.
Your husband had heard Dr. Hotze's radio show and said, that sounds like my wife, because there are so many of us as women who are having the same issues. That sounds like my wife. You're like, I'll try anything, and you did.
Yes.
And how soon after you went did you start feeling like your old self?
Actually, I started like a month afterwards. I started feeling a lot better. I had more energy. I was running around chasing the kids. I had already dropped about 20 pounds.
Yeah, and you've lost 90 pounds since. Okay, I want you to stand up. This is the belt. Let's take a look at this. This is let's come back to her live on camera. Come back to her live on camera. Come on. Okay, this is the belt that she used to wear. And if you turn to the side, you'll see that belt is sticking way out. Yeah, way out there. Look at that. That's the belt that she used to wear. And she's lost 90 pounds since then. So, Dr. Hotze, it's not necessarily that the hormone's going to just make you drop a ton of weight, but now your body has the ability to lose weight when you're doing the right thing.
When you get your metabolism up, and then what happens is you end up burning off the fat.
Yeah. All right. So
naturally.
You started looking fine, and your husband said, Daddy needs to catch up.
Actually, 3 months later, he started going. So, yes.
And he lost?
He's lost 70 pounds.
Wow. Okay, so Dr. Hotze, we do oftentimes associate hypothyroidism and, of course, obviously progesterone, estrogen with women, but men can have hormonal imbalances as well.
Absolutely. As men age, their testosterone level declines. That adversely affects their ability to use thyroid hormones. So men, too, will become functionally hypothyroid or clinically hypothyroid, even if it doesn't show up on a blood test, which is not going to show up. 95% of the time, people with hypothyroidism and all the symptoms have blood ranges that fall within the normal range. That's how they define normal.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important. The key thing to find out if you have hypothyroidism is do a checklist of the symptoms: fatigue, inability to focus and think clearly, depressed moods, joint muscle aches and pains.
Take your temperature.
But then the next, that's right, take your body's temperature. Your temperature should be 98.6, and people that are hypothyroid generally run in the 97s or 96s. They run a degree to 2 degrees below normal.
I love it. You got a 2-for-1 deal 2 times. So you got the twins, that was a 2-for-1 deal, and then you got a husband who lost weight too, 2-for-1 deal. All right, Dr. Hotze has written a new book explaining how hormones work and how to find natural solutions to a hormone imbalance. It's coming out in June, but you can order your free copy today at thyroidanswer.com, thyroidanswer.com. Dr. Hotze also hosts that radio show we were talking about earlier, Health and Wellness Solutions. Catch it Monday through Thursday from noon to 1 p.m. on 700 AM KSEV. And to make an appointment with the Hotze Health and Wellness Center to start feeling better, call 281-698-8698, 281-698-8698, or log on to hotzehwc.com. Probably best decision you ever made, huh?
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you very much. It is time to